What if I told you that season 10 of your favorite reality show is on the brink of being canceled? All because of Melody's shocking exit. That's right. What started as a fan-favorite series could now be facing its ultimate downfall. So, did Melody's departure really spell the end for the show? Or is there more to the story than meets the eye? Stick around, because you won't believe what's happening behind the scenes. And trust me, it's about to get real. If you've been following the show for even a minute, you know that Melody was one of the central figures keeping fans hooked season after season. She was involved in some of the most intense storylines, sparking drama, excitement, and let's be honest, all the juicy gossip we just couldn't get enough of. But what happened when she suddenly decided to leave the show? Was this a planned move, or was something brewing behind the scenes that we don't know about? Fans have been left asking, did Melody's exit cause the show to spiral downward, or was there something else at play? Today, we're breaking it all down. You'll hear the shocking behind-the-scenes details, reactions from fellow cast members, and the real reason why the show might be heading toward cancellation. You won't want to miss this, because what we uncover could change the way you see the show forever. Let's start at the beginning. Melody's exit wasn't just a small blip in the series, it was a bombshell. And I'm sure many of you felt the shockwaves. If you're a true fan of this reality show, you know how essential Melody was to the storyline. Her presence was undeniable. Whether it was relationship drama, her fiery personality, or her knack for stirring up group dynamics, she was always front and center. When the news broke that Melody was leaving, fans had a million questions. The first one, why? Was it a personal choice, or were there outside forces influencing her decision? Let's take a look at what was happening right before her departure. Sources close to the production began hinting that there was more going on behind the scenes than we were led to believe, as Melody's personal life. It all started when Melody's personal life began making headlines. From family issues to relationship struggles, it seemed like the producers were starting to lose control over the narrative. Fans began speculating that the show was losing its grip on reality, and that Melody's exit might have been her way of reclaiming some sense of normalcy in her life. But here's where it gets interesting. Was this exit truly all Melody's decision, or were there bigger forces at play? Let me tell you, there's a shocking twist to this whole story, and it involves the people behind the scenes. So stay tuned. Now let's talk about the aftermath of Melody's departure. Once she left, the show was left in a precarious position. Let's be real, Melody was the heartbeat of the series. Her drama was the fuel that kept the fire burning. And with her gone, the question on everyone's mind was, could the show survive without her? It's no surprise that fans were worried about what would come next. Without Melody's fiery personality and her ongoing conflicts with other cast members, could the series still draw the same level of attention? The producers were in a tight spot, and the audience wasn't sure if they could stay invested in the show without her. But here's where things got even juicier. As much as the producers tried to fill the void Melody left behind, the ratings told a different story. Some cast members stepped up and tried to take on bigger roles, but they just couldn't bring the same energy. Viewers were disappointed, and it didn't take long for the internet to explode with rumors about the future of the show. Then, a few weeks later, something unexpected happened. The ratings dropped, and I mean dropped hard. Suddenly, the production team was scrambling to make changes, but nothing seemed to stick. Was it because Melody was gone? Or had the core audience simply grown tired of the repetitive drama that didn't center around her? People wanted answers, and what's coming next might just surprise you. You see, things weren't as simple as they appeared. While Melody's absence left a clear gap, the producers grew desperate. They turned to social media influencers, former stars, and even brand new, untested personalities to fill the void. But none of them had the same impact. And here's where it gets really interesting. There's talk of a major shakeup that could change everything. But what does that mean for the future of the show? Keep watching, because the next part will definitely leave you shocked. Here's the thing no one's talking about. The producers are desperate. With ratings in free fall, they're willing to do anything to keep the show alive, and I mean anything. This isn't just about filling the gap left by a missing cast member. It's about making sure the show doesn't become another casualty in the brutal world of reality TV. Let's take a deeper look at what the producers have been doing to try and save it. You've probably heard whispers that they've been reaching out to some heavy hitters, big names in entertainment, and even other reality stars, in an attempt to bring some buzz back to the series. They've been actively scouting new faces, hoping to shake things up and revive the energy that Melody brought to the show. But here's where things get messy. The original cast members are not happy. There's palpable tension between the old guard and the new personalities being introduced. Some of the veterans feel threatened. Others feel undervalued. There's growing concern that the producers are attempting to replace them with younger, more marketable faces. And that's when things started getting really ugly behind the scenes. Let me give you a quick example. One of the veteran cast members allegedly had a major blowout with producers after they brought in a younger influencer as a potential new cast member. The fallout caused a ripple effect throughout the crew, and suddenly, the original cast was worried that their storylines and their screen time were being cut down. But this power struggle isn't just about airtime. It's about control. With Melody gone, there's a vacuum in the show's hierarchy, and the cast knows it. Everyone's trying to step up and claim that spotlight. What we're seeing behind the scenes is a full-blown struggle for dominance, and it's led to some shocking drama that will leave you questioning just how far people will go to stay relevant on TV. And here's where it gets even more intriguing. There are now rumors that some of the cast members are threatening to walk off the show if their storylines don't get the attention they think they deserve. This has put the producers in a tough position, because without these key players, the entire show could collapse. So, what's the solution? It looks like the producers are leaning toward a drastic shift in the direction of the series. Word is, they're planning to introduce more controversial topics, stir up deeper conflicts among the cast, and even incorporate more real-life drama from outside the show's filming. You can already hear whispers of an explosive new season if their plan works, but there's still one huge question left unanswered. Will these drastic changes save the show, or destroy everything that made it popular in the first place? Stay tuned, because the next chapter may reveal the shocking truth about the future of the show. Is there a plan in place to bring Melody back? Or is the show doomed to fade into reality TV history? Obscurity. That's where the show could be headed. After everything we've talked about, the backstage drama, the power struggles, the producers' growing desperation, you're probably asking yourself one huge question. Will Melody ever come back? The rumors swirling around her potential return are absolutely wild. But from what I've heard, it's not as clear-cut as everyone thinks. Sure, the producers are doing everything they can to get her back, but it's not just about throwing money at the problem. There are a lot of moving pieces involved here. And this is where it gets really interesting. First, let's talk about the dynamic between Melody and the producers. Despite all the speculation and reports claiming she's done with the show, some insiders say that discussions are still very much alive. In fact, a few reliable sources have suggested that Melody has been entertaining the idea of returning, but under one condition. She wants full creative control over her storyline. Now, you've got to understand something. Melody has always been a power player on this show. She was one of the original stars, and her presence was a huge part of what made the show such a hit. So, the fact that she's asking for creative control isn't all that surprising. But here's where it gets shocking. If the producers agree to her terms, it could change the entire format of the show. Imagine this. Melody returning with her own script, her own narrative, shaping the drama exactly how she wants. Could this be the ultimate power move? Could she come back and completely flip the story on its head? Because let me tell you, if Melody returns with that level of control, the producers may have to rethink the entire direction of the show. And it could either make or break everything. And here's where it gets complicated. There's another factor at play. Public opinion. Over the past few weeks, we've seen fans rallying behind Melody. Social media has exploded with petitions, hashtags, and passionate comments demanding her return. Some believe the show simply can't survive without her, but not all of the buzz is positive. There's a growing faction of fans who don't want Melody back. They argue that the show needs to evolve, move forward, and that bringing her back would feel like a desperate step backward. Some are even calling for a complete reboot, one without any of the original cast. Could that group be strong enough to influence the producer's decision? Now we're left with a serious dilemma. Melody has the leverage. The producers want her back, but they also don't want to alienate their audience in the process. It's a delicate balancing act. And here's where it gets even more intriguing, because there's a third player entering the picture. Now let's talk about the third player involved, Melody's current team. Her inner circle has reportedly been encouraging her to take full control of her brand and career, insisting that returning to the show may no longer be in her best interest. Some sources claim her team believes it's time for her to walk away from reality TV entirely and pursue bigger, better opportunities elsewhere, and honestly, could that be a powerful statement in itself? What if she chooses to move on permanently? But here's the kicker. If Melody doesn't return, it could stir up even more drama, not just for the show, but for her career. Think about it. A massive hole will be left in the show's narrative, and the audience will definitely feel her absence. So, the question is, can the show survive without her? Here's where things take another unexpected twist. Recent interviews and behind-the-scenes reports suggest that Melody has reconnected with a few former cast members, those who were once close allies during her time on the show. Could they be working on a new project together, one that has nothing to do with the show? This could mark a major shift in direction for all of them. If they do decide to team up, would that be the final blow to the series? Or would it give them the creative freedom to launch something even more exciting? Outside the constraints of reality television, this chapter is full of what-ifs, and honestly, it's only getting juicier. Will Melody come back? Or is the show about to face its ultimate downfall? Could her return spark even more chaos behind the scenes? I know you're dying to know what happens next. Now that we've set the stage for Melody's potential return or her permanent exit, let's turn our attention to one force that can't be ignored. The fans. At the end of the day, no matter how powerful the producers are or how juicy the drama gets, it's the audience that decides whether a show lives or dies. When Melody made her exit, fans were absolutely shocked. The outpouring of emotion on social media was overwhelming. Some were devastated. Others? They actually celebrated, excited about the possibility of a fresh new direction for the show. But here's the thing, it's easy to talk about what fans say they want. It's a lot more complicated when you dive into the actual numbers, so let's break it down. Since Melody's departure, fan reactions have been mixed, but the ratings? Not great. The first few episodes without her saw a noticeable drop. While the show still has a loyal fan base, something's changed. Without Melody's dynamic presence, the episodes feel different. Less intense, less engaging, and far more formulaic. Some fans have taken to social media to express their dissatisfaction with the new direction. And that backlash is a loud reminder that while a reality show may run on drama, it thrives on genuine connection, and Melody had that connection in spades. Her exit left a massive gap in viewers' hearts. You may have noticed, but it's not just about the ratings or the comments flooding social media. The real story is in the numbers. I took a deep dive into the viewership statistics from the last few episodes of Season 9, and here's what I found. There was a notable drop in engagement. Fans just aren't tuning in as eagerly as they did when Melody was still on the show. And let's be honest, that's not a good sign for its future. Now, sure, we've seen other reality shows take a hit in the ratings after losing key cast members. But here's the thing, this isn't just any cast member we're talking about. This is Melody. She wasn't just another face on the screen. She was the face of the show. People tuned in to follow her journey, to see her rise, fall, and rise again. Her story arc was the backbone of the series. From her quick-witted comebacks to her fiery showdowns, Melody became a central figure in the entire narrative. Her departure? It felt like the punctuation mark at the end of an era. The truth is, many fans are questioning whether the show can still hold the same appeal without her. Is it possible that her exit signals the end of the show as we know it? Now here's where things get really interesting. Some fans don't want her back. Sounds crazy, right? How could anyone not want Melody to return? But here's the deal. There's a growing faction of viewers who believe the show needs a complete refresh. They argue that the drama has become stale and that the series is stuck in a loop. They're craving something new, fresh faces, new dynamics, and a departure from the past. Some fans are even suggesting the producers should cut ties with the old storyline altogether and start over. Maybe even with an entirely new cast. Here's the catch, though. How many of those fans will actually stick around if the show does take a new direction? Because if the producers change too much, They risk alienating the core audience that's been loyal for years. But if they don't change enough, they'll fail to attract the new audience they're chasing. It's a delicate balancing act, and you can already feel the tension building that I know you're probably wondering. Will the show survive without Melody? Can it go on and still maintain the energy and story appeal that made it a hit in the first place? The answer isn't clear just yet, but there's something happening behind the scenes that could completely change the game. There are whispers, quiet, but growing louder, that the producers are seriously listening to fan feedback. And in response, they might take a massive risk to reboot. Yes, you heard that right. Rebooting the entire concept of the show. Starting fresh. New cast. New direction. New drama. It would be a bold move, no doubt. Reboots are always a gamble. They can either revive a show or tank it completely. But the fact that this idea is even being considered says a lot. And here's the real bombshell. What if this isn't just about Melody's exit? What if the show is changing because of something even bigger? According to several insiders, the producers are already in talks with new stars and planning fresh storylines that would completely rebrand the show. This could mark the beginning of a brand new era. It might be just the fresh start the series needs, or it could ruin everything. So, are the producers willing to risk it all? Are they ready to face the wrath of diehard fans who still want Melody back? Or are they thinking long-term, willing to take short-term losses for the chance at something greater? Time will tell, and trust me, you'll want to be watching when it does. You've heard the rumors, the whispers that have been circulating online for weeks. Fans are anxiously waiting, trying to piece together any hint of what's really going on behind the scenes. While we've been talking about Melody's departure and how it's shaken up the show's dynamics, there's something much bigger happening. Something that could completely change everything we thought we knew about this series. Here's the thing. Shows like this don't just lose key members and sit around doing nothing. No, they adapt, they evolve, and sometimes the best way to stay relevant in an ever-changing TV landscape is to quietly overhaul the show, without the fans even realizing it's happening. Now, I know that sounds dramatic, but stay with me, because I'm about to spill some behind-the-scenes tea that might just shock you that I've heard from multiple sources close to the production team, and according to them, the producers are actively reworking the entire show. And I don't just mean the cast. We're talking about the concept, the format, the direction, everything. And get this, they've been planning this for months. The timing? Suspiciously perfect. After Melody's exit, the producers took a step back and reassessed what was working and what wasn't. And guess what they discovered? They realized that the show's original formula was losing steam. Sure, the drama was still hot, but the structure had become predictable. The audience wasn't as engaged. People wanted something new, something different, something real. The magic that made the show a breakout hit? It was starting to fade. So, what did they do? They took a huge risk. They brought in new producers, fresh writers, and even new directors to completely restructure the show. But here's the real shocker. The direction they're taking the show in is nothing like what we've seen before. Instead of sticking with the tried-and-true, drama-filled formula, they're leaning toward a more documentary-style approach. That's right. If this rework goes according to plan, the show could shift away from its traditional reality TV roots and evolve into something more raw, more emotional, more real. Imagine this. Less scripted chaos, more unfiltered storytelling. A deeper, up-close look into the lives of the cast. The behind-the-scenes stress. The raw emotions. The truth about what really goes on in the world of reality TV. The goal? To capture the essence of the story, not just the highlights. This shift would allow the show to explore more genuine, relatable moments. The kind that remind viewers these aren't just celebrities putting on a show. They're real people with real lives. But here's the problem. Such a drastic shift could alienate the show's loyal fans. Those who've stuck around for the high-octane drama and explosive confrontations. And when you factor in the recent ratings decline since Melody's exit, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will a new direction revive the series, or drive viewers away for good? That's the billion-dollar question, but hold on, because it gets even more mind-blowing. As part of this restructuring, sources say the producers are considering revamping the entire cast, and this isn't just about adding a few new faces. Replacing key cast members with fresh, younger stars. That's the bold move producers are now considering. While some of the original cast might stick around, the goal is clear. Bring in new faces that will capture the audience's attention, especially if the show is shifting its focus to appeal to a younger, more diverse demographic. But who could be on the chopping block? That's the million-dollar question. We've already seen subtle hints on social media. Several cast members have posted cryptic messages about change and new beginnings, and speculation is running wild about what those posts really mean. Could some fan favorites be on their way out? It's entirely possible, and here's where things start to heat up. Rumors are swirling that some cast members are already aware of the potential changes, and they're not happy about it. Word has it that there's serious tension behind the scenes, with several longtime cast members uncertain about their future on the show. Some have even openly questioned whether these changes will dilute the essence of what made the show great. Others are more worried about being replaced entirely. Could this behind-the-scenes drama become more intense than what we see on screen? Time will tell. But here's the real kicker. If the show's rework goes through as planned, it could completely reshape the landscape of reality TV. This isn't just about keeping one show afloat. It could become the blueprint for how future reality series handle storytelling, casting, and fan engagement. Imagine a world where reality TV shifts away from over-the-top, scripted drama and instead leans into raw, unfiltered real life. That's a game changer. However, there's still one massive question looming. Will fans accept this new direction or revolt against it? That's the ultimate test. If the rebrand flops, it could mean the end of the show as we know it. But if it succeeds, it could usher in a new era, making the series more popular than ever and attracting an even more loyal fan base. We're at a major crossroads here, and things are only getting more intense. Let's take a step back and ask, what if this entire reworking was never just about Melody's departure? What if this was a calculated move to evolve the show into something bigger? What if this transformation is exactly what it needs to survive in today's ever-changing entertainment landscape? The answer might just change everything.